All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. So I don't find Charlie Kirk to be a hero. It's fine. Everybody has political shenanigans and political heroes and all that. I mean, the Democrats do it, the Republicans do it. But obviously, if you would ask real law enforcement or real spies, is Charlie Kirk a bigger hero, or is Larry a bigger hero? They said Larry's a bigger hero. So again, I'm not trying to be self-serving and selfish, but there's reality. Why aren't we living reality? Why the fuck do we live some bullshit billionaires fucking nightmare and then call it good? And it's not only Trump; it's all of them, right? I mean, the scriptures announce this time period, but the weird part, you're all running around acting like they're the good. 100%. I explained it. If you have money, it's easier to appear a certain way and even be a certain way. But it doesn't mean that you're that way because it's the inside. And I know you're all effing off people inside to become sinners, to become liberals, to become whatever it is your nightmarish fantasies cause you to project. All these things need to be said to fix the system. I even have to curse you off to fix the system. If I was in where I was supposed to be, I would walk up to somebody and go, F you. And I'd F them until it was finished. Right. It's just the same thing that happens in government. I'm still a part of the government. I'm still a big boss in government, probably the biggest boss in government. Because you have to realize they're all fucking me off all day long. And I'm still a big boss in government, which means I'm probably the biggest boss in government, federal, state, and local. Because I'm a help. I'm an angel. I'm there. I do things for them inside. Like my people do things for them inside. I have people. Remember, I point people towards God. I also point people to do something because I'm a boss. I'm not the traditional boss, even an traditional inside boss, because I work freely. There's people in the FBI that do what I say inside, right, and other places. Because when they grew up and when they woke up, everything I tell them to do works. So why don't we do that? No, we're going to do what the billionaire says. Yeah. And then everything fails. And then we spend more money showing how it didn't actually fail. It actually succeeded when it failed, which is possible, but not knows this, right? Mm. Well, it's a wake up call. 100%. Don't let it be wasted. Right. I mean, of course, black people are like, oh, yeah, he got his. He's been talking shit about black people the whole time. It's all spells, man. You're cursing black people. Even when he talks, and even when Charlie Kirk would speak, it would motivate people to curse black people and laugh about it. That's all it is. It's metaphysics. White people have more white. It doesn't matter that white people have more money, but white people that hate black people, or it does matter in another regard. But generally, white people that hate black people have more money. That's how it works. So they can project and cause black people to fail. But because white people generally have more money, based upon that same thing, I guess, right? That keeps white people from committing crimes, right? If black people had more money, it would be more difficult to curse them. Correct. See, at a certain point in my life, I still didn't have money, or they crashed my money, right? Never had money, but my life was forming. They killed it, and again, that helped them do all the things that they're doing. But I investigated every bit of it. There's no reason that it still continues or ever continued. It was all bullshit and false statements. I mean, false statements at the government level. It's prosecutable statements. They're still prosecutable statements. I understand something saying statements just yesterday were false statements, and they knowing false statements. And then oh, we were just he confused us, and he knows he confused us, so it's his fault, right? It's his fault. Yeah. And then Charlie Kirk gets shot because you lie all day, right? Well, to many people, it's just simply a wake up call for people that are one way in a certain direction, right? No, you cannot say that as again, it's executive protection technology. I bring this up each time I say it. It's it's a science. Would I say he brought it on himself? Of course, because executive protection technology says that. You're supposed to advise your principal, you're supposed to advise the person you're protecting that there's certain things that can be done to lessen that risk. And I believe Elon Musk is taking those considerations or those things into consideration over the last so many months because it became very dangerous for both metaphysically or actually three ways: metaphysically, physically, and psychologically for him and his community of protectee people or community of I guess protectors, executive protection people, right? He made it difficult for them, right? But he has probably a lot of people, so again, he toned it down and he moved in another direction, right? And he stays hidden because they can evil eye you. See, Kirk was being evil eyed, right? Out of sight, out of mind, right? That's one of the biggest. Like when executive protection gets to a certain point, like the risk gets to a certain point, out of sight, out of mind can work for people that are public people, right? And I guess that's what they're kind of doing a little bit. But it's just you put if we could. And again, it's not anybody's fault other than the people that fucked me off, and that fucked me off. It's their fault that you don't have camera jump kits. I used to speak about camera jump kits for all sorts of law enforcement things. You got something going on in a community, you put your camera jump kits out, right? You get a call that somebody's afraid that somebody's going to come and beat them up. Well, you put that on a route to their house or by their house, so you can see what's going on, right? So it's a case of don't call us, we'll call you, but in a good way. Right? They don't have to call you because you're already watching. I said that in Polk County. That one, I forget how it works. They got a call to a house, went on, and it was a great instance for a camera jump kit to be installed. Right? They knew the vehicle, I think. So when you see the vehicle, then you send the officers, and then you make a call to the house. Right? Hmm. You have I've said every community should have camera jump kits, detectives and whatnot, and when there's a risk, your command center picks up a view of the house or a route or whatever it is you're trying to scan, right? Of course, you can just leave a vehicle there too. That's another way of doing it. But again, if you're trying to actively investigate something, that's a way to do it. I didn't get a chance to look to see if there were other like 5G or 4G and those were solar powered cameras. Those are really good, and they weren't all. I don't think they were all that expensive, but right, just put a bunch of those together, and you can actually put a jump kit where each jump kit has four of those plus a MiFi or whatever it is you're going to do, right? But you have to keep the MiFi charged. Then you can always plug into a power bank. I'm not sure what the time. You have to look at the time. Like I got one in my car that does a jump start to my vehicle, but it also doubles as a power bank, and it lasts pretty long. So the jump kit could be pre-configured so that it's already logged on to the MiFi, right? Or already automatically logs on to the MiFi, and the MiFi sends a signal up. You can sit there with your phone and actually monitor the roof. Right. Again, if you put motion detection on it, then it triggers one of the motion. And if in DHS or if somebody was monitoring my stuff and knew what they were supposed to DHS or FBI, they would send out to every police department recommending that they build these video surveillance jump kits for investigation and for executive protection. Like, like some of them are, you can do, yeah, you can do the the more covert cameras and stuff, but some are just like trail camera kits, right? So now we get an image coming up on a trail camera, but the quality on some of those trail cameras are pretty rough. So something a little better, right? Right. If you're worried about somebody at risk, and you don't want to leave an officer at the house or a car at the house, and you put up a couple cameras on the route, and of course you get GPS the individual if you could find them. But, well, Chrissy Noem should put out that again, it was the Biden administration back then, put out the fact that they can put these there's possible varieties of these trail and costs of these uh, video surveillance jump kits. Some, you could actually do it really, really cheap. If you didn't have money, you could do it really, really cheap. You can use power banks, but you'd have to find the camera that uses USB and can be powered by it. Again, I ran into one that was USB that I was having trouble for some reason. I can't remember. I guess maybe the current draw was too high or different or something. But the key is to find the ones, and they should actually be manufacturing these. And they should use USB C instead of USB micro. But yeah, find the cameras that use USB, and I think it's. I mean, you could also. It gets more difficult, but you can. There's ways around it by using different types of power adapters. Right? You just need a USB in so you can plug it into. And there's other ways to do it, but then you get more complicated on your power system. Right? But what you want to do is just take a simple power bank and power the camera. So there are cameras that are now, as far as being waterproof, it's limited on some of them. But I've had cameras out here on my deck. I had a camera. I have a camera out there that looks at my van, and it hasn't failed, and it's been getting wet and all that. That's like a blue ramp. And some Chinese, again, the Chinese companies I worry about sometimes. But there's a company called Eufy, which is all American. I think they're USB micro. I just pulled one down. It's kind of just that's one I put in my hotel room, so I put it in a backpack. It can run off of USB power, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a regular kind of dome camera. But again, of course, you have more money than me. A trail cam makes sense, and then you have your automatic 4G or 5G connection. Right? And that one had solar. But again, that is also a bigger camera than maybe you want in certain instances. So there's other ways around that too. But every police department should have jump kits for executive protection and surveillance. Again, Charlie Kirk isn't somebody that you're going to say is President Trump, because now everybody's saying, but of course they weren't thinking that way. But again, had the progression of jump kits been taking progression that I was giving it over the last 10 years, then obviously it would be out there. Most people, even that college police department, would probably have it. Right? In fact, they probably would have created double-sided cameras by this point, right? Had we moved in that direction. Just like when I was working on ballistic protection on vehicles, it like died out because I'm not there pushing it, right? So like a executive protection vehicle for officers or something just short of that, right? Well, because it makes sense. If an officer's completely protected in there, I mean, they're going to be the bravest people on earth, right? Right. It's a big difference. You shoot the windshield, and the officer doesn't get hit. It's always it. So what you have is you have like a little bunker to go back to if something gets bad. You don't have to sit out there and try to get behind a tree or whatever it is. Right. You just kind of prop the door open if you need to and take some shots out through that. But your door panel is a ballistic protection, and the glass is ballistic protection. Right? We waste on bullshit, right? Those vehicles, and the more you buy, the cheaper the vehicle is. So if everybody in the country is buying ballistically protected uh, police vehicles, then the price drops. Right? So I'm gonna go look to see if there's any other trail camera kind of thing we're looking at. Well, stay